Hello and welcome to Planning a Spreadsheet Solution. In this lesson, we're going to cover a few aspects that might be quite familiar to you from your desktop publishing module. But first and foremost, before we go any further, it's a good idea to understand what spreadsheet software is used for in the business workplace. So these include things like sales forecasts, budgets, invoices, payroll, wages, statistical information, and this list provided here. Now, what's the difference between creating a spreadsheet personally versus professionally? The requirements for business spreadsheet solution are usually more complex. So when you make something personally, like maybe a shopping list or your own budget, they're quite straightforward things like this plus that equals this. Whereas there's a lot more complex variables required in the business context. Many people will be using your spreadsheet solution. So for personal use, it's usually yourself or maybe 2 or 3 others at most. Whereas when you create a spreadsheet solution within the workplace, you tend to get upwards of 10 plus people using it. More data is entered and more decisions are made based on the information provided by the spreadsheet solution. So that one speaks for itself. Now, for this reason, it is important to carefully plan the spreadsheet solution before you create it. This is what this lesson's particularly about. And so in this lesson, we're going to cover the brief, the plan, stakeholder consultations, milestones, resources, and design. Again, for those of you who have done the 2785, this might look familiar to you. Before you move on in this lesson, though, it's important to understand what is the difference between a spreadsheet, a workbook, and a worksheet, because we'll be using this terminology quite a lot throughout this lesson. Now, a spreadsheet is the computer program used to organize and analyze data. So in this instance and throughout this course, you'll be using Excel, which is this icon here that you can see. Now, a workbook is a spreadsheet file, which is made up of 1 or more worksheets. So what a worksheet is a single page or sheet in a workbook. Now, a spreadsheet solution in a workbook is created to meet specific needs. So, for example, it can be a way that for business to keep track of its income and expenses. It could be all those other examples that we listed in the previous page. So I'm just going to quickly show you now so we can re-illustrate this. So how to open up the spreadsheet, which is the computer program. So go into your start menu and do search. And if you type in Excel, you should be able to open it up here. Now, so this is the program used to organize and analyze the data. Go. And I'm just going to create a new one here. Okay, so this is the software. Now, when I create these tabs, this individual tab is a worksheet. So this is one sheet, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4. And each sheet has a different thing in it. Now, all of these sheets combined, whatever this file is saved as, is known as the workbook. And the program that we're using, which is Excel, is the spreadsheet. Okay. Now, to move your way into this lesson, just click on the buttons down here, on the next button, and we'll get started.